This is the Chapter 14, Segment 4 outline. Hypothalamic sleep center was revealed by a study of narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is a disorder that involves frequent, intense episodes of sleep, which last from 5 to 30 minutes and can occur any time during usual waking hours. These sleep attacks occur several times per day and usually about every 90 minutes. Most people display NREM for an hour or more before entering REM sleep. Individuals who suffer from narcolepsy, however, tend to enter REM in the first few minutes of sleep. People with this disorder exhibit a disrupted pattern of sleep at night, and they suffer abrupt, overwhelming sleepiness during the day. Most people with narcolepsy also show cataplexy, a sudden loss of muscle tone, leading to a collapse of the body without the loss of consciousness. Cataplexy can be triggered by sudden, intense emotional stimuli, including both laughter and anger. Several strains of dogs exhibit narcolepsy, and the mutation responsible for narcolepsy is one of these strains of dogs was found to be a gene that encodes receptors for the neuropeptide hypocretin, orexin. Genetically, normal rats can be made narcoleptic if injected with a toxin that destroys neurons that possess hypocretin. The neurons that normally produce hypocretin are found almost exclusively in the hypothalamus. These neurons send their axons to each of three brain centers: basal forebrain, reticular formation, and subcortical. The hypocretin neurons also project axons to the hypothalamic tuberomammary nucleus that is inhibited by the basal forebrain to induce the NREM. So the hypothalamic hypocretin neurons normally control our switching between wakefulness, NREM, and REM sleep. The traditional treatment for narcolepsy was the use of amphetamines in the daytime. The drug GHB also helps narcoleptic. The traditional treatment for narcolepsy was the use of amphetamines in the daytime. The drug GHB also helps narcoleptics. A newer drug, modafinil, is sometimes effective for preventing narcoleptic attacks. One common symptom of narcolepsy is experienced by many people on occasion. Sleep paralysis is temporary inability to move or talk either just before dropping off to sleep or more often just waking. In this state, people may experience sudden sensory hallucinations. Sleep paralysis never lasts more than a few minutes, so it's best to relax and avoid panic. Sleep disorders can be serious, even life-threatening. Some dysfunctions associated with sleep are more common in children than adults. 2 sleep disorders in children, night terrors and sleep enuresis, which is bedwetting, are associated with SWS. For sleep enuresis, some doctors prescribe a nasal spray of the hormone vasopressin before bedtime, which decreases urine production. Somnambulism, which is also sleepwalking, consists of getting out of bed, walking around, and appearing awake. Although more common in childhood, it sometimes persists into adulthood. These episodes last a few seconds to minutes, and the person does not usually remember the experience. More common in the first half of the night. The main problem is the inability of sleepwalkers to wake into full contact into their surroundings. Some people seem to be acting out their dreams during REM sleep. REM behavior disorder is characterized by organized behavior such as fighting an imaginary foe, eating a meal, acting like a weird animal, and a person who appears to be asleep. This disorder usually begins after the age of 50 and is more common in the men than women. The onset of RBD is often followed by the early symptoms of Parkinson's disease and dementia, suggesting that this disorder is the beginning of widespread neurodegeneration. RBD is usually controlled by the anti-anxiety drugs, benzos, at bedtime. Insomniacs have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. Estimates of prevalence of insomnia range from 15% to 30% in the adult population. Insomnia is more commonly reported by the people who are older, female, or users of drugs like tobacco, caffeine, and alcohol. People with sleep state misconception report they didn't sleep even when the EEG showed signs of sleep and they failed to respond to stimuli. On the other hand, EEG readings of people who claim they are not sleeping show fewer slow waves and more of the alpha and beta activity typical of wakefulness than other sleepers. And more of the so perhaps So perhaps they are really more conscious than the sleepers during NREM. Usually these conditions produce translated sleep onset insomnia, a difficulty in falling asleep. Drugs, as well as neurological and psychiatric factors, seem to cause sleep maintenance insomnia, a difficulty in remaining asleep. In this type of insomnia, sleep is punctuated by frequent nighttime arousals. This form of insomnia is especially evident in disorders of the respiratory system. Drugs and sleep. The most modern sleeping pills, including benzodiazepine and newer drugs like Ambien, Sonata, and Lunesta, bind to sites in the GABA receptors, making them more responsive to neurotransmitter and thus inhibiting broad regions of the brain. Drugs fall far short of being suitable remedy for several reasons. First, continued use of sleeping pills causes them to lose effectiveness, and this is declining ability to induce sleep often leads to self-prescribed increased dosage that can be dangerous. Second is the sleeping pills produce marked changes in the patterns of sleep, both while the drug is being used and for days afterward. Use of sleeping pills may lead to persistent sleep drunkenness coupled with drowsiness that impairs waking activity and may lead to memory gaps about daily activity. Because the hormone melatonin is normally released in the pineal gland at night, the administration of exogenous melatonin has been suggested to aid the onset of sleep. In fact, melatonin does have a weak hypnotic effect after the administration, perhaps because it lowers body temperature, reducing arousal, and causing drowsiness. In contrast, caffeine is an antagonist for the neuromodular adenosine, which generally reduces neural activity. Thus, caffeine boosts brain activity and taken at night delays the circadian clock. Sleep hygiene is habits such as avoiding caffeine shortly before bedtime that promote healthy sleep. And that concludes my Chapter 14, Segment 4 outline.